Quick Slants is presented by your local New England Honda dealers.
What's up, everybody? Lather, rinse, repeat. That's right. The routine of losing has taken root for the Patriots.
Did enough things to make it competitive, but not enough to win. Got to coach better, got to play better. Got to learn from it and just keep working harder and move on. Got a lot of work to do. Got to do a better job playing, coaching. Just got to perform better. It's plain and simply, we got to find a way to play and coach better than that. And, be able to coach it better, play it better, execute a little bit better.
The words, the tone, the expressions of despair, and the promises to do better. They come like clockwork every Sunday night and Monday morning, yet the same thing happens in every game. The Patriots fall behind because of turnovers or penalties, or simply being worse than their opponent. They lose. Everyone's sad. Then they do it all over again. Lather, rinse, repeat. Show up on Tuesday. Get ready for your quick slants. Here's the game plan for today. Bleak for Bill. We see that. You know that. We all know that. The Mac downfall. What's at the root of it? Slow starters. And finally, polls and comments. We have a nice, fun fill in the blank coming up. And Kay Adams. It's Kay Adams from FanDuel Television. The Up and Adams Show. How are you?
I'm better than Patriots fans, I'll tell you that much.
Did you ever think it was come to this?
Not this bad. When you're allowing Jacoby Myers revenge games and you're letting that advisor, Josh McDaniels, get wins against Yoda himself, and when you have Rex Ryan, who knows about things that stink, his jet squads, his other squads, feet, which he allegedly has an affinity for, you cannot have Rex Ryan on national television saying that the Patriots stink. The world is upside down, Tom.
There is. When you start to look at the people who are doing the dancing, looking up from your grave to watch their feet stepping back and forth, it's got to be discouraging. And you know what? There's no end to the dancing in sight at this point, Kay.
We're a little excited about Cunningham. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about it. But it's time now for Quickfire, presented by your local New England Honda dealers. Everybody, first up, you talked about Bill O'Brien a lot this week. You wrote about him. But here he is today talking about the plan at quarterback for the Patriots.
Yeah, that's, for that week, for that game, that's what we decided to do in that game. I think it's week to week. Doesn't mean we haven't, I think what, maybe you're asking is, have we lost confidence in Bailey? We haven't lost any confidence in Bailey. We felt like that was the best way to go about it for the Raider game based on where we were from an injury standpoint and things like that. How do we get Malik Cunningham into the game? And that was the best way to get him into the game. So that'll be from week to week. And, we have a lot of confidence in the players that we have on game day.
It's a wild statement, Kay, when he talks about injuries. So here's why this is a head scratcher to me. Basically, if you're talking about injuries, you must be talking about offensive line injuries. And then in turn, you're saying if the injuries get to be too much and we can't protect Mac, then we'll have Malik Cunningham run. But you didn't bother to put Bailey Zappi on the game day roster where he would be able to be activated. He was an emergency quarterback. So if anything happened to Mac on the first drive, Kay, it was Malik Cunningham until the fourth quarter. And he's just not ready for it. And it makes you say, if I know that, don't you know that?
But there has to be some sort of equity Bill has and Bill O'Brien has and whatever has. Gronk, on Up and Adams Show every Wednesday, he got me all preseason so excited about Bill O'Brien being back in the mix and making something happen. So it is a head scratcher for sure. It doesn't help the whole situation is case of the drops, guys. Devontae Parker, no Patriots fan excited about this one. But what did we make of his accountability ? After the costly drop late in the fourth on Sunday?
What'd you see?
Looked like you got behind the coverage. Ball was there.
Yeah, I guess that's just what happened. I'm just behind the coverage. Next.
Did you get your fingers on the ball?
I think my fingertips, but I didn't get a whole full grasp of it.
Do you feel like that's a ball that you can catch?
I think so. Fingertips, I don't know. But
ownership, man. To me, Kay, that's the ability to take ownership, to be vested, to say, look, I know other people made mistakes. I know Max had some turnover issues. Eventually, Devontae Parker, when asked what the problem was, he said, it's penalties, which means Devontae hasn't really committed any, so it's got to be somebody else. And they're getting into that portion of the season where finger pointing, especially among players, Kay, who are not vested, who don't have the whole cultural sensibility of the Patriots where you take it on yourself, we might start to see that shining through a little bit more.
Three-time Patriots Super Bowl champion Rob Gronkowski said that Bill Belichick has a bit of a scale. It's graded on a curve as far as how many strikes you have with fumbles, with mess-ups, the Zeke Elliott's fumble, those kind of fumbles versus a rookie doing and all of that. So I'm curious to see what Parker has. I don't know if they have that Belichick, though. These aren't the Gronk times. Like, he doesn't really have the leash to be able to say, you're benched, you're not playing, you're going to be penalized by this. It's a very weird thing that's happening. Now, we have Henry McKenna of Fox Sports, and here's a tweet from him. It says, the Patriots have had no contract discussions with edge rusher Josh Uche. That's per source. He'll be a free agent in 2024. The trade deadline's looming. That's, of course, on Halloween, a couple of days away here. Uche, this is a stud. He had 11.5 sacks last year, Tom. 2.5 this season. Are the Patriots selling? I mean, Uche has value.
Yeah, he does have value, and that's what's fascinating about the whole landscape. Would the Patriots want to redo him? Kyle Duggar, Mike Onwenu, on down the line, Hunter Henry, one of their most dependable players and a captain. So those guys all have expiring contracts. Are they going to say, Bill, go ahead, you know what? Let's get some of these guys done and plan for 2024. Or are they going to say, Bill, go ahead and sell these guys. Let's get draft picks in return. Or is Bill even going to be able to, Kay, author those decisions? Because there's $100 million in cap space and there's all these important expiring contracts. Who's going to make the decisions? Because next year is going to be on us like that. That was a better one right there. I'm not a good snapper.
Let's get to the poll.
Thank you. Okay, today's poll, of course, is brought to you by Shaw's, perfecting the art of fresh. Kay, here's the question I asked. If you were in charge, what level of responsibility would you be willing to give Bill Belichick in 2024?
Wow.
All of it? Well, there's only 17% of you. That's less than 2 out of 10. I'd let him be the head coach, honestly. 43.8, still standing by Bill, because they probably feel like I do. You don't want to see the guy go. Not a lot of people look like that Parcelsian consultant team overlord. And then 27% say sadly, none. Kay, you got some comments?
None. How the mighty have fallen, man. Tough crowd. Well, Anthony says, you think a GM head coach whose pedigree includes 6 championships over 2 separate dynasties would be a no-brainer here? You'd be wrong. Bill Belichick's egregiously poor GMing over the last few seasons has seen his stock hit rock bottom. Maybe the Bears would bite. Ouch, what a shot fired at my hometown. Jake says, head coach, to use a Parcells metaphor, just let him cook the food and not shop for the groceries. Bill needs a HelloFresh team. Everything's already in place, properly portioned and mailed to his door. Then he can crack a beer, listen to a book on tape, and serve it up.
I like it.
Ghost Rat, we appreciate the treats. These are awesome, guys. I'm in the none camp. His ego is too much of a liability to bring him into an organization. Sad thing to say about the best who has done it, but it is true. And Straight Cash Homie says, I've been thinking lately about how Bill would rather move on from players a year too early than a year too late. He's in his 70s, and the sunniest way to look at it is we're moving on a bit early. The more pessimistic view is we're 5 years late. I think it's time, unfortunately. And I got a lot of love for Belichick, and I got a lot of compassion for Robert Kraft, who's going to have to navigate a difficult situation.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, we started working together in 2013, 2014. We started co-hosting this show together for a while, and we had an unbelievable time. And this, I guess, we knew eventually would happen, but to have it upon us and the way it is and how quick it came, Kay, it's strange.
I have faith.
My girl, you are the best. You can catch her on FanDuel TV, on the Up and Adams show. Love when she's able to get with us. She is the best
Gronk
in the
tomorrow.
business. Yes. Oh, Gronk tomorrow. It's Gronk Wednesday for Kay. For us, it's go back under the hood and look at Mac after the break.
6 o'clock kickoff is presented by Shaw's.
Potential brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lepresti. Look younger, feel younger, get your hair back with Leonard Hair Transplant Associates. This, ladies and gentlemen, is not a sight that you would like to see. This is what the Patriots did offensively just a few days ago against the Las Vegas Raiders. All the green dots, those are passes attempted by Mac Jones. Note how many are behind the line of scrimmage. Note how many are within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Note that big red dot down there on the right, top right. Yep, that's a pick. And then that big white one out there, 40-plus yards downfield, that was the throw to Devontae Parker. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for my slant. Bill, what did you think of Mac last July?
I think Mac's done a great job. He's worked extremely hard. He's got a tremendous work ethic, and in all areas, I think there's a dramatic improvement.
Hey, when you hear that quote, then look at that passing chart. It tells you that something went terribly, terribly, terribly wrong. And it has. The kid who had the most promising rookie season out of the 5 drafted in the first round is handcuffed for not being trustworthy. Does he deserve to have his hands tied? Yes, he does. Did he deserve the decisions that have led to this monumental regression? Decisions like failing to have a succession plan for McDaniels, like putting a pair of plumbers in charge of wiring the house with Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, like swinging and missing on half the offensive free agents taken in that 2021 Spenderama, like trying to change the offense, like failing to attack the tackle position in the draft or free agency, moving on from Jacoby Myers, or deciding DeAndre Hopkins wouldn't help while giving raisins to Devontae Parker and Trent Brown. Nope. That avalanche of miscues isn't on Mac Jones, but he's the one suffocating under that avalanche. Mac's got his limitations. I've detailed since he got here, especially the lack of velocity on his throws. But we never got to see the kid do things that he does well because he was put in a position to fail. Phil Perry, as always, standing by, ready to help me. It's crazy when you look at that quote from last July and see what Bill is saying by his actions now.
It's unbelievable. And you're right. I think his hands are tied because he's hard to trust right now. That offensive line is hard to trust right now. Tom, through 3 quarters in that game Sunday, his average depth of target, how far his passes were traveling down the field, was 2.4 yards through 3 quarters. That is borderline not professional football. And it speaks volumes as to where they're at with the offense as a whole, but with Mac Jones in particular as well.
There are still people, and there's a small, tiny person in my variety of personalities up in my head who say it's still not on Mac. And when I go into this offseason, because he's still on a rookie contract, I still am reticent to go ahead and say I'm going to go get another quarterback in the first round. I'm going to tank for Caleb Williams or anything else, because I still think that if he had the right offensive line and protection, he could look like the guy I thought he was going to look like in the summer.
I agree. And so you don't have to necessarily move on from him, even if you want to dip into this quarterback class, Tom. The issue is, it looks like it's a pretty strong quarterback class. Mm-hmm. And your record looks like it's going to be bad enough that you're going to be well within striking distance to land one of those guys. So what do? Do you pass on that opportunity to draft a tackle? Maybe Marvin Harrison Jr.? Like, there are some talented pieces outside of quarterback in this draft as well. But boy, I think it would be hard to pass on the potential next guy just because Mac Jones is still in house. You don't necessarily have to get rid of him, but maybe he's the bridge to whatever's next at that position here.
And that's what, to me, is really hard. If you're sitting there in a situation where you have a must-get in terms of a tackle or in terms of an explosive wide receiver that you're not otherwise going to have fall into your lap through free agency or by trade, you've already got a placeholder quarterback. Don't you need to get those other positions that you don't have anything at?
You need it all. You need it all, right? That's the unfortunate reality that you find yourselves in. If you're the Patriots right now, they also, Tom, have $100 million in cap space, it looks like, this coming off season. It's a tackle class at the free agent position that has a few names that might interest the Patriots, and so maybe you can get that thing shored up in free agency before you get to the draft. The draft is loaded every year with receivers. You just actually have to hit on one. Maybe you can get one in the draft. Maybe it's on day 2. I still look at it, though, Tom, and if the quarterback class is that good, really hard to pass on one of those and say, Mac, you got a whole nother year.
I'm telling you, I just don't see it being the silver bullet that I used to. Maybe I'll come around. I got a long time to do that, and I can't be wishy-washy. All right, coming up right now, actually, not coming up right now, we're going to take a look at the 3-point plan that I put out there on Twitter. Said, folks, give me your concise 3-point plan for fixing the Patriots offense. Here's the first one. It's our guy, Brad Sohn. 1, lose every game. 2, trade or cut. Yeah, cut Mac. 3 is to draft Caleb Williams. Next one, coming from our guy, KDV. Offensive line isn't good enough for a pocket quarterback. Let Cunningham play sandlot ball. Give the young wideouts a chance. Hire Bieniemy as the head coach.
Ooh, baby.
You know what?
A lot there.
He's thinking outside the box, not concise, though, Kenny.
Keep it brief, people.
Get docked. Next one, Danny Noonan. Sign La'el Collins to play right tackle now and moving forward. Draft the left tackle in the spring. Trade for Judy now and sign T. Higgins or Mike Evans in the offseason. Sign a veteran and draft. Okay. I don't know if Nix, Penix, and McCarthy are going to be there too much past the first pick. First round. But get through this year. Fire Bill. Doesn't want to coach. Fire Bill. Okay, you guys can read the rest.
Get him twice?
My mouth. Yeah, fire the hell out of him. Is he still alive or is he fired? Fire him again! What makes sense to you? I'm an offensive line guy.
Meaning what? You're going to go all in and just build the offensive line and you're going to be much better next year?
Everything into the offensive line. If I see an offensive lineman, if I see somebody who looks like an offensive lineman walking down the street, I'm signing him to a contract.
Unfortunately, you need more than that, and sometimes at the most critical positions, you have to invest a top-end pick. And so, again, I would look at quarterback. I would look at receiver. Say, Tom, the Patriots have the 5th overall pick, and quarterbacks go with the first 4. I think that's within the realm of possibility. Then you don't have to force it necessarily at that position. Maybe you get the best tackle, you get the best receiver, but you need quarterback, receiver, and offensive line help. It's not, in all likelihood, unfortunately for the Patriots and their fans, a one-off season fix.
You need offensive line, wide receiver, and then maybe quarterback help. Give me those other things, and then find out if we need the quarterback. Phil, I bet we're going to have time to talk about this again. Wednesday at 6 o'clock, catch the game plan. Disco Tommy Giles will have the latest from Foxborough as the Patriots get ready to host the Bills. The game plan presented by your local New England Honda dealers. Coming up after the break, I asked Bill about those slow starts because, believe it or not, it's not just happening this year. Here's Bill's answer coming up after the break.
What is it that's happening at the start of games? Are you not prepared? Are the players not executing? Is this a coaching issue? Is it a talent issue? What is the issue?
Yeah, Tom, if I had the answer to that question, maybe it wouldn't be that way. We've tried a number of different things, so we'll keep working on it and just keep working to try to get better. But yeah, you're right. It's been hard to play from behind.
You know, at the risk of beating a dead horse that's on its way to the glue factory, we got to bring this up again. Look at this since last season. The game after Thanksgiving, they came back to beat the Cardinals. You see that one. But these are all the deficits. Raiders at the bottom, the most recent. These are deficits in every single game. The only time they didn't trail was the game against the Jets a couple of weeks ago. If they stop falling behind, I'll stop bringing up how they keep falling behind. Okay, now they get the Bills and the Dolphins back-to-back games. And the focus is on what's next for this franchise has taken center stage. Phil Perry is back with us right now. And Phil, we look at this, and as this season starts to maybe teeter on the brink of falling into full disrepair, who's the core of the team that's going to, what do they say, the center must hold? Who's going to make sure the center holds?
It's a great question, Tom. Who's even under contract and who is in maybe a leadership position that can help pull everyone in the right direction? There's only a handful of names if you really want to get into it. David Andrews, Jonathan Jones, Jawan Bentley, Dietrich Wise. These guys are good locker room guys. Throw Jabril Peppers in there as well. Good locker room guys. They know what it takes to win. I think they are going to be here for at least next year. But are any of them high-end talents that are going to be able to lead you into whatever your next phase is? They have some young players as well, Tom, but when you're talking about core leaders, there's not many names on the list, in my opinion.
And because of the number of very good players, or guys who we perceived as very good players before the game started being played, Mike Onwenu, Kyle Duggar, Josh Uche among them, we look at that group, and if they have an uncertain future because they have expiring contracts, what's at stake for them in terms of going all in for the New England Patriots? Yes, pride. Yes, a paycheck. Yes, what you put on film. But that's for your profession. It might not be for this team to suck it up and say, do it for the Patriots.
You know what, though, Tom? Let's be real here. If they're playing for themselves and they are motivated for that paycheck, might that not look better than it's looked these last few weeks? How much motivation, period, has it looked like some of these guys have had on the field in the last few weeks here? So whether it's for the team or yourself, as long as you're motivated, you bring a little energy to the field, I think that would be welcome at this point.
Will the coach that they're playing for now be the coach that they're playing for next year? And is that a question that they have to probably wrestle with as we watch this unfold?
I don't think it will be based on how things are trending right now, but the coach who might be their coach next year might also be in the building in Gerard Mayo. And so maybe there's something there in terms of let's play for him. Let's get this thing steered in the right direction. Let's turn this thing around so at least by season's end we can feel good about what we're working with next year.
All right, Phil, you get the Next Pats podcast tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, Next Pats podcast. You can find that wherever you get your favorite podcasting apps. Of course, go to NBCSportsBoston.com to find all of our digital coverage. See you in a day or two.